Oh, is this thing working? Hello, hello. Okay. I'm whoops. Hey, Ari Ray. So yeah, we're just starting a new little design with the Twitch stream. Sound is good, background is good. Okay, okay, cool, cool. Um, so hi everyone. Thank you for being here, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about. Yeah, I should be looking at the camera. Hey everyone. So yeah, we have some really exciting stuff to talk about today, and I'm a little stressed. Because we're going to be showing you the new website design, which we've been working on for a little while now. Let me switch to my desktop view where I will show you how it looks. Hey, and I'm in the corner there. Hi. So this is the new website design. Turn off Discord screen share. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Stop streaming. There you go. So yeah, new website design. That's hopefully that looks really good. I hope everybody likes it. Um, Only 143 days until Christmas. Yeah, I don't stress so much about Christmas. But anyway, this is I'm really excited to show this new design, this new website. Like the previous one was relatively um acceptable. I'm not gonna say good. It was acceptable, but it was lacking in quite a few places. And was really quite simple. And it was the very, very first design that I did for the website when I still didn't really know how HTML worked, and it didn't change since then. And this has been a huge undertaking that I think almost started last September, I think, with, pauses and going back to the drawing board and things like that. And it's been a huge collaborative effort by so many different people who gave their ideas, gave their design, gave their expertise on how to make it look beautiful. And this is how it looks now. Um, I would actually like to show how the old website looked. That would be cool. Um, but yeah, this is what it looks like now. If you are logged out basically and you come into the Forge, you don't know yet how it's going to what it's going to be. You look at the website and it feels good. At least to me, I really like what we've done here. Um, and it looks nice. It looks like a gaming website, not some blog, or I don't even know what it looked like before. Yeah. So this is for the logged out people. So this is the first impression that we want to give to people. This image right here is currently a placeholder. We have actually commissioned some art that's going to be exclusive to the Forge that will be showing off a bit more of like really cool art that's inspired by the Fight Goblins not servers. I'm not gonna spoil too much about what that art is gonna look like, but I think it's gonna be really good. So the current background image here is a placeholder, but it also looks really good. So I'm really happy with that, and it does the job perfectly here. And then you have this. Um, Let me see if I can show you. So you have um, for the players, they can see what Foundry looks like. They can see this is the anniversary overview from Foundry that was released by Andrew Atropos, which is, I think, an absolutely amazing video that shows all of the features and just how awesome Foundry is. And then here we have See What the Forge has to offer, which is currently a
Hello.
placeholder video that just shows our last feature update, which was actually from 8 months ago. And I will be working either today, hopefully today, we'll see. I'm under like so many different things that I need to do, but hopefully today I'll do a new video that just goes over the basics of what the Forge can do, and then that will replace here for game masters. So people can see as players, this is what Foundry has to offer, and as game masters, this is what the Forge has to offer. And I like how it will also adapt. If you go too small, then it will switch to a two view like this. If you go too small again, then it just becomes just the video there. Um, then we have this beautiful little animated map that's just, subtle. It just shows some of the things that other VTTs don't have, which is like the flickering lights, the overlay of the fog. It's just looking really good. And then we are showing our various unique features. So the game manager and the user manager, of course. We are showing the assets library. We're explaining what it does, the import wizard, the bazaar, the fact that we are the first and only marketplace for Foundry, the fact that your games are available 24/7, because not everyone has that ability. Like most people who are self-hosting, for example, they need their computer to be on. Or you have competitors which require the DM to go and turn on their server, and once it auto idles, you need to wait a few minutes for it to start up again. And yeah, and then we have the pricing front and center here, in the main page, which is also going to be really interesting. And we have these new icons, which are absolutely awesome. I love the new icons, drawn by Kevin, our in-house artist slash customer support slash everything. Hey Kevin. Um, and yeah, so you can see the pricing, the features, and our new footer here, which is much nicer than the previous one. Um, if you remember, I really would like to show how the old site looked, actually. So let me be back in a second. I'm just going uh to update a server um to show you how the old site looked, and then we can compare. Um, you'll see the difference immediately. Um, let me log out here. Let's go back to showing the screen here. All right, let me see. Yeah, so that's our new site. The navigation bar also changed. So you have a discover menu here where you can see the features, the plans, and pricing. So the features is something that we already had. This still needs to get updated with a bit more style. And so you can see the plans and pricing also has these things here. The table is going to change as well. So we're not done with the new website. We're not entirely done. So that's coming soon-ish, I guess. So this not working. Well, I expected the staging site to change. Well, anyway. So yeah, the the navigation bar you can see has a few different things. So you can go to the guides and documentation. Terms and service are available here. The contact us page. You can access different marketplace or modules, or anything from the bazaar quickly from here. This is also something that is really quite interesting. So now you can go to marketplace, and it will just show you everything from the marketplace, while mixing both systems, modules, worlds, even asset packs. This needs to get fixed a little bit. So you can see there are still some tweaks to be done here and there. So to get to setup, you just click on the My Foundry at the top here. Let me log in and show you. So you have the new login screen, which isn't very different from what we had before, but it's just not the weird animated thing that we had, which was not so good. But let's log in. And so if you click here, it will take you directly to setup. You can also just, you can click on the Bazaar or the My Foundry to get to where you want to go. You can also click the Forge here to get to your games. But you can also click on the items from the hover icon, from the hover menu. But yeah, it's a little different. Hopefully, people will quickly adapt and learn to love it as much as I did. Um, but yeah, you have because one of the things we wanted to fix is when you go too small, especially for people on mobile and things like that, we wanted it to be a significant menu that still showed quite a few things for the users. Um, and allowed them to get access to everything they need. This staging server did not reload yet. Oh well. Anyway, um, let me see. One-click path to setup. Uh, well, now you can one-click path to setup is here, or is that? Not sure what you mean, array rate. Um, but anyway, so yeah, the assets library. So from the old menu, you had My Foundry, you had the Bazaar. So those are still accessible here. The only thing is that my assets library is gone. It's now in the submenu. That's like the biggest change with regards to maybe loss of functionality. It's not really the loss of functionality, but some people might see it that way. Um, oh, the return to setup. That's um we don't have that feature array rate. We don't have a way for you to start directly into setup. You just resume your game as it was, and you do have a return to setup button in the login screen that you can click that takes you back to setup automatically as well. But yeah, so we're also changing so many things that we change or that we are changing. But the new website is looking really good. Now we lose all that portion here at the header where it was showing your name and avatar. Now it's this is at my actual avatar. This is not just the Forge icon. So if I go to my account here, you can see that's my avatar basically. But yeah, so you have your quotas available right here. If you go over 90%, then you'll have a little icon here to tell you that you are nearing your quota. You can switch teams instantly now, which is really cool because I know that you have multiple teams, but between Slate and Default, which I think are the best light and dark teams, you can switch between them right here without having to do the whole save and all of that. And I think actually Dark Theme looks really good when you go to the assets library that way. Let me actually, it does. Uh, let's see if we go like this. I think that looks really good with the glassy effect of the background. I like that very much personally. No, Alaric, I'm not gonna show you my licenses. Um, but yeah, what else? What else? I really like the new footer. It's looking really nice. We are also so the discover the forge menu that was logged out gets into the resources, so you can still get access to all that stuff. Now have an about the team page, um, which talks about who we are, all the people working with the forge. So that's something that I wanted to do for a long time. It still needs some improvements visually, but at least it's there, and we're gonna keep improving things. We have an acknowledgement page also where we want to thank all the people who helped from um, uh, various either art or pro bono work, or previously were helping with the forge and then they left to do something else, either as contractors or So the acknowledgement page was something that we wanted for a while. Yes, community moderators, Aristoka is there, Alaric is there too. Community moderators are an incredible bunch of people who make the Forge survive all of its success, to be honest. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the changes. You can also click your assets here to go directly to your assets library, and data here to go to the setup. So that was a suggestion I received during the feedback phase to just make it a little bit easier to access some of that stuff. And yeah, that's kind of the new design. There's even more changes happening. Like for example, the docs documentation now um, is shown a bit differently. This is still not done. Again, we want to have like subcategories here where you can, instead of just having one category fact and tutorials where everything is, you would have, for example, billing, account setup, getting started. Fact would be its own category where each of these would be a question all on its own, but you can now search for topics, and you can, I mean, you always could before, but it wasn't as obvious to access that um, for people who aren't used to discourse. So this documentation website is just going to make it much easier for people to discover some of the feature or get their questions answered and things like that. So I think that's really cool. So like Bazaar Creator. So this is the creator's fact on how to submit packages to the Bazaar and things like that. So it's just super easy this way to browse for documentation, and we'll also have like a Foundry tutorials category so people can also learn some tips and tricks, recommended modules or something like that. So I think that's gonna be really cool. um, Let me see, what else did we do? So there's just so much that has gone through this. Like I said, we started the designs and the changes all the way back in last September, I believe. So it's been brewing for a very long time. Um, Maybe October actually. I'm not sure, but it's been a long time coming, and it's still not done. Like I said, it's still not done. We do have a new 404 page as well. I don't know if anyone saw that, but we have a 404 page that says the treasure is another dungeon. Your investigation check failed, and you can only find emptiness. Maybe it's you're searching in the wrong place. With a beautiful image drawn by Kevin for us for our 404 page. So small little adjustments like that for throughout the site to just make the experience a little bit better for everybody. Um, in the bazaar, so from the marketplace, when you look at the assets packs, they are now square banners instead of rectangular ones. So that's just going to be a bit more standard for these kinds of asset packs. And you can see that um, some are still using the rectangular cover images from that we had before, but others are already using the square tiles to just show a bit more, because asset banks are much more about the assets. So it's really nice to be able to see that kind of stuff there. Um, you also have with the type all, you can now browse for like um, everything all mixed up together. I think I mentioned that before: asset packs, worlds, modules, um, systems, anything from the marketplace, or even so if you remove the filter marketplace, we don't have a UI for that yet, but you would be able to basically get the same thing here, mixing systems and modules and everything all at the same time, which is really cool. I think people have been asking for that for a while. um yeah, Crystalline, you didn't know that there was all these asset packs. That's one of the things that I really want to work on. Um, it's to make the marketplace more discoverable. So you can see we have 329 packages in the marketplace just for modules, and for the asset packs we have 44 available asset packs. Forgotten Adventure recently added their asset packs to the Forge, and even worlds, we have 19 worlds available to purchase from the marketplace. There's just so many content. So and people don't always realize that. So having the marketplace here available, um, as well as being able to mix all the content together, was basically kind of like the first step in making that discoverability better for people, so they can find their stuff. But we want to change a lot more in that, like this filter section on the left, we want to change that to be a bit better and easier to use, and have a bunch more discoverability features. I think that's going to be important, so people can find what they're looking for, um so what else? Yeah, there was this thing that people have asked for a bunch of times. Um, so we had the pay what you want um, system for people to basically decide on what price they want to pay for a module. So you can see Tension Pool is free and you can pay what you want for it. But there were also some packages that had the pay what you want, but with a minimum set price. And people were noticing, well, if there's a minimum, then it's not really pay what you want. It's pay more, and that's kind of, we changed the way that it's displayed, so it's a little plus. So we're showing the minimum price with a little plus, and we stopped using the pay what you want for those kinds of packages, and this little arrow thing is only for those that have no minimum price. So this way people can really feel like they know exactly what price they would have to pay if they wanted to select that package for purchase. And I know that a lot of people are generous and they want to give more um, to the artist, and that allows them to do that. But they still get to see what the minimum price that the artist has set. So I think that's a big improvement for the usability of the Bazaar marketplace for our users. At the same time, you notice I'm currently logged out and I can see the pricing. Whereas before, if you were logged out, the button would just say sign in to install, but the button would just be an install button, basically, green. But this, basically, this was what all the packages had, but now you can actually see the pricing without having to log in first. So I think that's a big also improvement for the discoverability of content. Hopefully you all like these little changes. Um, Crystalline, thank you for that comment. Yeah, Ancient Dragons. I am an Ancient Dragon too, so yeah. It is much easier to read as well. I try to make, like, just getting that text here to be readable with the background behind it. Just like tweaking the shadows so it looks good. That was quite a challenge, and Zeal has been an extremely helpful um, tool. Well, I'm gonna say tool. No, he wasn't a tool, but he's been extremely helpful in getting it to just look right, so we can actually read the text, because it was very difficult before. And yeah, we have Kevin with his young eyes always coming up with, "Hey, this is very readable," and I'm like, "No, I can't read it. Try to squint like you're old." um, but yeah, so as I said before, we have commissioned a banner here for the Forge that will be pretty cool. I can't wait to see the results of that commission. We've also commissioned a new logo by Lou Tavern, who will do a logo for us that's very similar to the current one. We are just going to basically um, revamp it a little, make it a little nicer overall. So you can still expect quite a few tweaks to come within the next few weeks. Um, like I said, the banner, the logo, you also have the plans and pricing page that will change a little bit. You have the teams page that will also change a little bit. We have some cool ideas on what we might be doing there. So yeah, there's a bunch of small tweaks still that need to happen on the website. Maybe the text, maybe the images, maybe some of that stuff to just make it look even better. But I'm super, super happy with how it looks right now. Um, yeah. And the next thing I want to talk about is actually um one new feature. You can also just click here to go to my account. You don't need to go into the sub menu. I hope people notice this. I hope people realize that they don't need to go looking for stuff here. They can just click on the menu directly to access what they want without going into the sub menu itself. But one big change, one big new addition is this Oceania server. For me, it's obviously very far. Um, but we've had so many reports from people in Australia or New Zealand who even like the Asian server in Singapore was pretty bad. Some people got like even 400 milliseconds to the server in Asia, whereas it was like 200 milliseconds to North America. So that's worse even. And the reason is apparently with regards to Australia in how they set up their networking to get to Singapore, they have to go through the west coast of the United States in, you know, how the wiring is done. So that added a huge latency for them, and that broke my heart. Honestly, I saw like how can you be in the region that I set up for you and not be able to get decent speeds. And so we've set up the Oceania server for all the people in, Australia, New Zealand, Guam. All those countries in that region are going to be benefiting from it. The server is in Sydney, so it's going to be much faster for some of them. Some have gone from the 200 or 400 milliseconds to speeds of like 30 milliseconds or like 15 milliseconds. So that's really huge improvements. Um, so I'm really happy about this. And one of the big challenges that took like months of work to get that up. Not because it was difficult specifically to just launch a new region, even though there's quite a few complexities in doing that, but because this server was redesigned to be more stable and with high availability and like um, uh, resilience against some issues that the other servers don't have. Um, so far, we haven't really needed that resilience, um, but I wanted to have that set up just in case with the new design because I will be moving all the other three regions as well to a new service provider. Um, and I will be using this new design to make it even like long-term scalability and long-term stability in mind. And so there was a lot of design that went into it and a lot of changes that had to happen to make sure that it was easily reproducible and easily done. And so that's why it took so long. But it's set up, it works, and it's great. I had some challenges there, but it's working. The next one to move will be Asia. So I will be moving Asia. It will still be in Singapore, but from DigitalOcean to OVH. I still have a couple of tweaks to do with regards to the new design, and then I'll be moving Asia and then Europe and then North America to finish that whole process basically and move to the new service provider. There will be some challenges once I get to Europe and North America because they're much bigger. So I want to do things a little differently there even. So we'll see. But this is going to be within the next few months, right? So there's that. I saw in the comments here, how about Latin America? So yes, that's definitely a fair question. Unfortunately, there's not really any possibility for it at this time because most cloud providers, at least those that I work with, do not have a region there. So the reason For example, Oceania, I had the ability to set up something in Sydney, Australia, was because the new service provider has one in Sydney, Australia. Yes, unfortunately, we have the same issue with like South Africa, or like in general the south of Africa, where they need to go through Europe, but it's a little far. I mean, it's not so bad, but still. Um, I mean, the good news for you though, Blue Kupala, is that the assets library is always going to be, it's over 200 locations. So there's definitely a server in Latin America for the assets library. So that's still going to be super fast. It's just going to be about the latency to the Foundry server itself, which can have an impact on the game. Like if you create a new character sheet, or if you move a token and things like that, you will see that latency, that it can affect you. But generally speaking, it's not so bad as far as I know. With like 100 milliseconds, it's fine. The issue with Asia, Australia, is that it was going over 200, and then that started to become a bit bad. Um, let's see. It's pretty dumb oversight from them, given how fast Brazil, Argentina are building up. Yes, absolutely. And I love how Brazil has been, uh, embracing the technologies, um, open source specifically. I know that like Brazil has a very big open source uh, community there. But yeah, there's definitely something that can happen there, but I don't know why they don't have uh, servers there. I think it's mostly because of like pricing. Um, I I think those other places just have deals in place to make it much more cost efficient for data centers to be there. Like for example, with DigitalOcean, with regards to Asia, there's only Singapore. Um, OVH has both Singapore and Sydney. Um, I know that Vulture has also Tokyo for Japan, but I don't see it somewhere else. But I don't want to use Vulture because I had some issues with regards to some of the features they provided. So they didn't have like a level 2 network isolation that I think is really necessary for security purposes. So um, I also looked into Linode, which had very bad security, so I had to drop them. And I'm not at all interested in looking at AWS or one of the big three, basically, Azure or Google Cloud. Um, but yeah, that was a big thing, getting the Oceania server set up. Um, and yeah, so I just wanted to like thank everyone in those regions for being patient with us while we sorted that out. And um, I hope you're all happy about this new development. I know it's a small portion of the Forge users, so some of you might not be as excited about this change as others are. But for sure, those that are affected by it um, are really happy about this news. But yeah, that's about it for that portion of the new changes. And that's, I think, like the new website and the new servers were the very big, most time consuming things that I had to work on in the last month. Um, we also worked on a few other things. Um, I mean, there's just so many different projects up in the air, and we're handling so many different things. It's incredible. Um, but yeah, like we're currently working on the documentation, as I mentioned before, the new organization. This was initiated by Crash Murphy from our Discord, so thank you, Crash Murphy. The community is absolutely amazing. I love you guys. Um, and yeah, there's going to be a new organization for how the documentation and the knowledge base is going to be accessed. So this is coming really, really soon. Um, and what else? I'm looking at my notes here, if you'll allow me. Even a DM has to look at the notes, am I right? Um, so yeah, uh, there's there's also, if you haven't seen it, now it's too late though. But we did a call um, for resumes to do some hiring. I'll be talking about that in a minute. Um, but yeah, the Forge team is growing, and we already have someone that received an offer and accepted it. I'll talk about all that as well as some of the stuff with regards to server changes, our CDN, and some of the upcoming features and some of the stuff we'll be working on this month. But first, I want to give the hand to Destiny Gray here, who will be showing you some of the awesome content from the bazaar that we have. All right, so I am switching to you, Destiny. Say hi.
Rightio. Hello, chat. Can you hear me?
I can hear you for sure.
Perfect. So we're just going to get right into this. Let me open up my beautiful screen share. We'll go live. Perfect. So hello, everyone. My name is Destiny Gray. I also go by Methuselah Honeysuckle. It's good to talk to all of you once again. And today we're going to be looking at three different creators on the bazaar. We're going to be looking at Micro Music, Kelphasil, and DM Dave. I will be pasting some of the stuff we're looking at here
All right,
in the chat.
so share
Oh,
your
can't see my
screen.
screen? I'm
There you
showing
go.
it.
Yeah, I didn't click on it. That was my
Ah,
fault.
boss man.
Yeah,
This
it's my fault. You can blame me.
boss, we spent at least three audition slash practice rounds practicing this. So
Well, okay.
well, we're gonna start here with some content from Mr. DM Dave. Now, it turns out that DM Dave is actually more than one person, so that's very interesting. Turns out DM Dave is a collective and not one person.
Well, is
And
it a collective of people or is it one person with multiple personalities? Did you check on that?
the voices in my head said it's a team. So
Okay.
I'm a collective, but they're a team. They are multiple Daves. Their last name is Dave. You're required to change your name. It's like the Bolson construction company in Breath of the Wild. Uh,
Okay.
anyway, one really nice thing about DM Dave's module that I wish more content creators could do, but it takes some coding knowledge, is that you enable this module and it prompts you to install it immediately, being like, you enable it and it brings a big pop up on the screen and just tells you, hey, you want to install this content into your world, and it'll import it all automatically into their own folders. And so it's perfect for just getting started. So we'll just enable this wonderful music from Micro Music to accompany the Depth Watchers pool.
Yeah. I think that feature is something that we'll see more of. Um, as I believe that's how the packages Dragon Encounter no Dragonshorn Encounters from
Yes,
Rughalt
Rugholt. Yeah.
are doing it, and I believe Rughalt has worked with these other world creators to share that code to allow them to basically do the same thing. So I think since the artist community, the creators community is so friendly and helpful to each other, and they're really great people in general, so they're pretty much all going to be benefiting from that at some point or another. So yeah, that's really something that I like about the ability to just import your module into your world as new scenes and like as a one shot.
Heck yeah. So I'm just going to get right away to showing off the Depth Watchers pool.
Mm-hmm.
It, from what I have seen, it appears to be a one map game, but it is a very large map. Spoilers alert, by the way. I mean, look at the size of this map. Very large, plenty of locations, plenty of monsters. and it's the rare unicorn high level one shot, boys. You never get those. You never get them. Is
Nice.
it taller than 8,000? Let's see. No, it is not taller than that, Alaric, so it's the perfect map size. It seems to be set up with the standard Roll20 70 pixel grid size. So if you happen to want to be bringing your Foundry games into Roll20, it's ready for you. And you'll see a huge variety of monsters, secret doors, actual doors, plenty of good walling. I mean, look at this walling, just perfect. You love to see it happen. And it even
Nice.
has these nice eyes of the deep. Now, as you behold them, you might notice that they look like a monster that shall not be named. That's not within the SRD. But don't worry, they're totally original creations. Uh, Absolutely original features. And I think you will all love using them against your players when you drown your players. And accompanying it, of course, is Micromusic's otherworldly opuses. Now, this music is just beautiful. His music is the perfect kind of music to just accompany any one shot, any campaign. It's the kind of thing that can be applied to a lot of stuff without sounding just boring or like it's filling in the white noise. TPK for the win, absolutely. There is plenty of monsters capable of TPKing your players here. I mean, look at this. There's so many. There's a Doom Golem. So I would totally recommend this, and it's pretty cheap on the Bazaar for how much you get here. I believe it is checks pricing. Boop. Give me a second. It's taking a little bit to load. $7.99. Not bad for a one shot like this. With
No.
the map, the lighting, the monsters, the
And,
token art.
and you said that you have multiple scenes based on your player's levels, so the encounters
Yes.
are already scaled to different levels, so that's really cool.
It has a keyed locations guide. It
Mm-hmm.
also has another keyed locations guide that sorry, not a it also has a introductory guide, so it's nice little separate bits here. And I rather love it because it makes for very easy reading. So we're going to stop that ambient music for a second because I want to show off the other piece of content today. So you like spooky stuff, right, Kakaroto?
Yeah, well, I like to spook my players, not necessarily get spooked.
I wish I had a jump scare effect to activate here, but unfortunately, Kelphasil did not include that. However, he did build a wonderful one-shot called Reliquary of the Souls with assets licensed from plenty of skilled, creative map makers, artists, musicians, all those people. And you get right into here, and I think this is like the first or second scene of the one-shot. And oh my gosh, the lighting on this is incredible. Look at that beautifully spooky light. Ah, it's so good and animated and juicy. The players walk in and they are immediately greeted by these horrifying ghosts. Where's the spooky music? Thanks for reminding me, Alaric. Whoop. They have a nice little ambiance theme as well as a combat version of it. And if the ambiance gets boring for your players, well, guess what? You have this wonderful otherworldly opuses music to play from. And his content is similarly engaging here and similarly good. You have plenty of scenes to do and choose from. You can see here that there's some beautiful maps. There's some beautiful art. I mean, look at this portrait art. Oh my gosh. And this one really made me happy. It's a book golem.
Book golem? Okay. That's
Yes,
like the perfect golem for for this abandoned library.
exactly.
That's
I,
amazing.
I like forcing my players to destroy books because it hurts them on the inside. So
Awesome. So you heard the players and the characters.
Yes, yes, exactly. The best way of hurting your players is when you make them do it against themselves. I mean, there's other cool art. There's like this guy here. I mean, look at this guy. He looks mad litty, as the kids would say. I mean, look, he even has like a bottle of like whiskey or something right here.
Yeah.
And then there's like, oh my gosh, there's the Grand Curator. Ooh, or like this person, this old guy, and then there's this weird creepy girl with the playing cards. She reminds me of a villain from Jackie Chan, the animated series, who used like playing cards, and Jackie Chan had to fight him.
Hmm.
I just think she's cool. Now, how much do you think this costs, Kakaroto?
Oh, don't ask me those questions. I'm bad at
How much do
those.
you think it costs?
I'm gonna go and
How
say
much can
that
a
it,
loaf of bread cost? $5?
yeah, it should probably cost something like that. But I'm gonna go and say that it costs $1 billion.
I can see why you'd think that. No, it's free. Totally free. Costs nothing. Nada. You get it for
Nice.
free.
That's
Yep,
very generous.
Kelphasil is a very skilled one-shot creator and writer, and I think it's a bit of a shame that he's not getting more attention because he's publishing a lot. He's releasing a lot of adventures. The other ones are paid, but this one, like I said, is absolutely free. And he asked me to advertise a Patreon offer he's doing right now. It's a bit expensive, but you pay 10 or 15 euro, which I think translates to $30. And
Not really. I think euro and US dollars are kind of almost similar. And we're
yeah,
not talking Canadian dollars here.
I think the euro is slightly stronger, probably because of Germany.
Slightly,
But
yeah. I think like
anyway,
probably 10 euros is like $11 or something.
something like that. Anyway, uh, you you subscribe to his Patreon for a month, and you'll get his adventures as a nice little like bundle deal. Otherwise, if you don't like the Patreon model, or of course if you want it hosted for free without counting against your data quotas, optimized for your viewing pleasure on the Forge VTT, you can buy them on the bazaar for like $9 or $10 for some of his adventures. So just my little showcase of stuff and the amazing content he's making. I strongly urge you all to check out more of Kelphasil's content because he's been working with a lot of very skilled creators to release these beautiful, amazing maps and this wonderfully detailed content. And I think that's all I have to show off today, but I'm very glad to have done so.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So remind everyone, please, of what it is that you showed. I think you showed three different
Yes.
content
I will once again paste links into the chat.
into the
We
chat.
have We
Perfect.
have Micro Music's Otherworldly Opuses. We have DM Dave's Depth Watcher's Pool. And finally, Kelphasil's Reliquary of the Souls.
Awesome. And Kelphasil has plenty of other content that is being released and more to
Yes.
come. So check
Yep.
it out.
Soda and DM Dave, they've posted a few. They've just gotten started on the Bazaar. And
Yeah,
Micro Music, they're a longtime supporter of Foundry. And they too have like 4 or 5 tracks on the Bazaar that's super good, already set up in a playlist, ready to go in your games. These are all
definitely.
very skilled creators, and I'm so happy that we're getting so many skilled content makers.
Awesome. All right. Is that all from your side?
Uh, yep, that's Methuselah Honeysuckle
All right.
signing out.
I'm switching you to video so you can say goodbye.
Bye, chat.
Bye, chat. Well, bye, Destiny. All right. And I'm back. Well, you're still there. Let me just close you. There you go. And there's my thing here. Okay. So, what were we talking about? Let me see. Um, yeah. I think what I was talking about before, um, before switching to Destiny was with regard to the hiring. So we had a call for resumes, um, that was like I think 2 weeks ago, maybe just a little over 2 weeks ago. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of information about that and mostly a status update, because now we're not accepting any more resumes. We closed the call on that. We've reviewed. We received almost 100 applicants. A lot of incredible people. It's not. It was not easy to go through all of that and pick out who we want. So it was not originally like a call for um, for a specific job, right? So it was not um, a how would you say, like we have a job opening. Here's the job description. Uh, it was kind of different. It was more of a, we need all sorts of people. We don't know yet who we're going to be taking. We don't know if we'll just be able to have one person or three people or five people. Well, probably not five people. We don't have the budget for five people. But we didn't really know if we were just going to be hiring one person or three people or two. Whether it was going to be a full stack developer, junior or senior, or if it was going to be like front end or back end or a DevOps. So there were quite a few different roles to fill. Um, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to fill all of them, and we didn't know um, if one person was going to fill a bunch of them or if we would need one person per role, etc. So the Forge is still a startup, it's still growing, and we did need basically people who would be able to wear multiple hats, right? Who would be able to do all sorts of tasks because there's just so much stuff to do. Um, but we do have um, we were really needing a developer, basically someone who would be able to help me with regards to um, developing the website, the features, doing bug fixes, managing the servers as well. We do have Evan here, Irrational, from Dead Save Development. You probably know him as the guy who did Combat Utility Build, Combat Carousel, Maestro, and other inexplicably popular modules. Uh, but yeah, he's in a part-time capacity. He can't dedicate too much time to the Forge, so mostly he's been helping with small tasks here and there, and quite a lot with regards to the brainstorming. Also, he's a great person to bounce ideas off of. But I needed someone who would be able to work full time, and also who I could learn from, because uh, some of the stuff that we're doing is not necessarily something that I had experience in. So someone who would be a senior experienced developer in that specific area was something that was interesting to me. So we looked at all that and we found a few people that seemed interesting. We're currently going to be sending out calls for interviews, as well as rejection emails. Unfortunately, it always breaks my heart to say this person we just cannot accept, either for lack of knowledge, or they are above our budget, or they don't fit into the roles that we were looking for. But we'll be sending out those rejection letters within the next couple of days, probably later today, tomorrow, um, something like that, as well as calls for interviews for from some of these applicants. We already had a couple of interviews. There was one person that I mentioned before, um, who we made an offer to and who accepted it this morning. So it's still quite new. Hasn't started work yet, of course, but yeah, we're happy to have someone joining the team. So Varstal, I guess, is, well, that's his nickname. I don't know yet, you know, um, if he wants to share his name or whatever, any kind of details. So for now, we're just gonna say Varstal is joining the team. So really, really excited about that. He's someone who has so much knowledge, so much uh, experience in all sorts of different areas. And I found it really, really interesting to talk with him um, because there's just so many different parallels between what he's done throughout the years and what I've done. And there's some obscure programming languages that I think it's the first person I met that actually also knows that language, which I found really funny. Um, and yeah, he's also into reverse engineering, assembly programming, and things like that, but also cloud, and server administration and things like that. So there's something really cool that's going to be happening um, with that person, I'm sure. So really, really excited about that. And yeah, we're also interviewing other people that uh, we'll we'll start to see who would be a good fit. We still have um, enough budget to hire more, so I'm hoping for 3 people total. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if we will do that because even if we could, maybe it's not necessarily a good idea because onboarding a new person is an immense amount of work. So having 3 people to onboard at the exact same time might be a little overwhelming for me. So we'll see. Maybe the third person will just be hired in a few months. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, this is basically the update on the hiring process that we had. I also wanted to talk. Let me actually switch my OBS uh, to be like this. There you go. Yeah, Alaric 3 potentially, not yet sure, potentially, but also I'm really starting to hesitate about the whole 3 number. Ideally, I would like 3 people, because I would like to have one person, for example, that would be 100% dedicated to the bazaar and just improving the interface there, and especially for the creators, because the Forge has been huge in helping users um, be able to use Foundry easily, like making that entry barrier to entry. I think you're right. Making that barrier to entry lower for people and just making it easier to use. And I want to be able to do the same thing for creators. So there's a lot of work to be done with regards to, the creator profile, how they can upload their modules, how they can update them. Um, Asset packs also, like being able to browse and control their assets within their modules. And we also want to have a more fleshed out Patreon integration. We're not going to talk too much about that, but we spent a few months brainstorming and doing like study groups, basically asking for feedback on various ways to do Patreon integration, which will be coming soon, hopefully at some point. So there's so much there. Uh, yeah, yeah. It's we spent months on trying to do the Patreon integration stuff. Just like getting a system that everybody will be happy with was incredibly difficult because there's so many different Patreon creators who use different business models and different release models and different ways of providing their content um to their fan base. Like you might have a Patreon creator with one module only, and they do multiple releases of that same module every week, um, or every month. And then you would have another creator who has a module released every week. but never gets an update. So they end up with hundreds of modules, um, versus the other creator who has only one. Some have only a few megabytes modules, some have gigabytes in their modules. So there were many considerations to have. So I would like someone to work almost exclusively. Of course, it will never be exclusively because we do so many different things as a startup. You have to wear multiple hats to take care of everything that needs to happen within this company. But someone who might be dedicated to that task of the bazaar. There's also our our D&D Beyond integration that I really want to get back into, and provide a bit more content to it, with regards to fleshing out some of the import process, working on the actual lighting uh, and walls and tokens and all of that stuff, just making it much smoother overall, as an experience to the users. But also when you import, let's say, a rule book as a module, I want to have a module, um, like a companion browser within Foundry, so you can just see a similar UI where you can just see like the cover images, the cover books, and then select and then drill down into exactly what you're looking for, to import your token or journal entry or whatever. So just like having the experience be smooth and easy to use and just beautiful overall. So there's a ton of work to do there. We unfortunately did not have enough time with everything that's been happening this last month to make much more progress on that front. I did do some updates, um, which updates the actual content, for the walling and lighting stuff for some of the adventures. That was all community provided work by Mr. Primate's community. Unfortunately, I did not have time to help on that front. So totally my bad on that situation. I wish I could spend more time on this. So hopefully by having people joining us, I could spend more time on this, or I could assign someone to help out and work on this a bit faster, um, than what I've been able to so far. And on that note, that is something that I wish to work on for the next month. Hopefully you'll see that progress, inching forward within next month or so. Um, so yeah, that's some work that's coming soon. Um, but other than that, let's see. We had um, so I'll be talking about basically what's coming for the next month. And I say the next month, but if you noticed, our dev update streams haven't been like 1 month apart necessarily. I think the last one was 5 weeks ago, or even 6 weeks ago. I'm not sure. So we didn't want to just do one dev update every month and not have anything really exciting to do. So we only planned for the dev update stream and announced the date when we felt confident enough that we would have something to show off, like the new website, as well as the Oceania servers being released. So that to me was really important um, to have something to show to people, not just be there to talk about anything or nothing. So that's why. So I don't know if the next dev update will be exactly 1 month from now, or if it will be less, or if it will be more. But yeah, by then, hopefully you'll see some really cool progress reported. And what kind of progress, you say? Well, like I said, the D&D Beyond integration, I want to move a little bit further in there. By the way, I don't know if anyone noticed, but the free content from D&D Beyond, so you have like the basic rules, as well as the Frozen Sick adventure, which I think is here. You can already import it without being a patron. um, as well as, you know, like the basic rules. You can import that without being a patron. You don't need to enter into the beta program basically to test that out. So if you want, you can do that. See how it is. If you like what you see, maybe you'll also want to import another module like Lost Mine of Phandelver, Curse of Strahd, something like that. Otherwise, feel free to just use the basic rules or Frozen Sick without needing to commit to my patron or anything like that. But yeah, so that's one of the changes I would like to see. There's also going to be a lot of work within the next few weeks with regards to the United States sales tax. So we are victims of our catastrophic success, as Destiny likes to say. And we're already passing some of the thresholds for many of the states that require us to start registering and collecting sales tax from some of those states. So if you are a US customer, you might start to see a sales tax added to your invoices. We will be notifying anyone who will be affected, those living in specific states that are affected as we pass those thresholds in those specific states. So I don't think so far we've sent any email to anyone apart from last week where we announced to people from Australia and New Zealand and well all the countries in Oceania. We told them about the new server region, so we did that. I limited it to only people who are subscribed um, because I believe that they would be interested in that change. Um, so that was the first unsolicited email sent out by the Forge. And with regards to the sales tax, I don't think it's really like an unsolicited email. It's more like information about your invoice. So that's something important to show. So we'll be sending those emails out progressively. And yeah, that's quite a headache. Honestly, you do not want me to get started because we're already 1 hour in, and I could spend 3 hours talking about sales tax in the US. Let's just say it's complicated and even more complicated than complicated. But we're handling that, and it's been quite a huge time drain. And I unfortunately anticipate it will be a bit more of a time drain in the coming month. Um, so yeah, that has slowed us down a bit, but yeah, we'll be doing that soon. Um, Apart from that, I didn't want to touch up on some of the server stability in the recent month. So we've had really good success. We've had really good stability so far. There was 1 week in the middle of that where I don't know, all the celestial uh bodies aligned or something, and we had a week in which we had nearly a an issue every day, and each of those issues was completely unexpected and completely new and had never seen before. Like load balancer working no problem for over a year, and then it decided to start crashing for no reason. um so yeah, that happened. And then some other thing with the Cephalosser, which has been working also for a year without issues, and then without being touched, suddenly started failing. I mean, there was an issue where I did like a maintenance configuration issue. That's outside of that weird week where it was just unexpected. And thankfully we learned from that, like very weird use cases. Um, and we were able to fix most of those things. Um, but yeah, that was not a fun week for me, um, and for you either. I mean, nobody likes it when there are issues that crop up. But yeah, other than that, I just wanted to say to people that this that was not like a the Forge cannot scale or the Forge uh is going to have recurring issues. That was really like a perfect storm kind of thing which was totally unexpected, and we don't expect it to happen again either. At the same time, we did move to Cloudflare recently. I believe I mentioned that in the last stream update, but just like as an update to it, we are having great performance, great reliability with the new CDN. Everything is awesome apart from one, well, actually two issues. That if you have an asset, a map, something, and you change that, you update it, then you might not see the updated image. And so that's a bug on Cloudflare's side. And that's something we are in communication with them to get a solution fixed up. The second one is that if there's a small blip in the S3 storage or server or anything, like there's an error, those errors get cached instead of not being cached. They're not supposed to, but they still do. So I'm not entirely sure why it does that, and that's also a bug from their side. So both of these issues have been reported to them, and we're still waiting to hear a fix from their side. Hopefully, it's not going to take too long. It's not very damaging, but it can be frustrating and annoying to those that get affected by it at any given time. Um, but yeah, we are aware of those problems. But other than that, with regards to stability, it's been really great. Um, and from there, I want to also mention something that I talked about last time with regards to the backup system. So, yay, we are now officially completely moved to a new backup system. This is another work that has been slowly happening for over a month now. So, we have a new backup system in place that allows us to do, um, much more granular and much more. Interesting and even faster um, backups to the whole of the Forge's users' content. So we can restore worlds if needed. Um, and if you are on the world builder tier, and you lost your world, then you might be able to contact us, and we'd be able to recover that content for you much more easily. Um, the backup recovery is going to be exclusive to the world builder tier, because it does require quite a bit of resources to do. No, not storyteller, unfortunately, Alaric. It's still not something. It's currently manual work to restore. The backups are automated, but the restoration is manual. And I want to add the support for the automatic. Like you would be able to go to like my foundry and like say my world, recover a specific um world basically, and just choose which date and recover it. I'll probably make it available to recover from the last 3 days, for example, or the last week, um, as a first step towards um, implementing the time machine feature, which is something that will be coming sooner rather than later. And I'm really, really excited about implementing the time machine feature that's coming soon. Hopefully this month. Not guaranteed yet that it will happen this month, but it will happen soon. So I'm really, really excited about it. And it will leverage our current backup system. And yeah, so I think the idea around the time machine feature is that this world, for example, is currently online, right? Um, and as soon as it goes idle, which is like after half an hour or something with nobody logged into it, um, once it goes idle, then it takes a backup right away. Like the game has gone idle, now you know, we'll take a backup. So you can come back and even see things like, um, uh, being able to see uh, throughout your entire game, like even like from a year ago or something, well, not right now because we're not yet doing it, but you would be able to see, okay, I played on these specific dates. Oh, and I also did some prep work in the middle of the week or something like that, and being able to go to a specific date and restore the game from that time. Kind of like the Wayback Machine for the internet, but being able to do it for all of your worlds. That would be really cool. Um, so that's something that would be for the world builder only as well. But in the meantime, until that feature itself is going to be implemented, because that's going to require quite a bit of work, in the meantime, you would be having the ability to restore backup from last week or yesterday or something like that. So if there's something catastrophic that you did, like, oh, I deleted my world by mistake, or I deleted this scene that I've been working on for a few hours, um, well, if it's you've been working on it, then you would lose that specific work because the backup would be from the day before. But yeah, you would basically be able to recover from your backup. So really, really excited to start working on it. I just need to have the time to work on it because, new website, new servers, um, tax, sales tax stuff. So there's just so much. Now there's going to be like the onboarding of the new hires also. That's going to take some time. Um, and so let me see. Um, Other than that, last stream I said that I was going to take some vacation. I did not. I did slow down my pace quite a bit at the beginning of July, so that was very helpful for me. So that was good. But I didn't actually take vacation. Towards the end of July and the start of August, that pace increased again because we had the imminent release of the new website and things like that. So it's kind of balanced itself out. So hopefully this month I'll be able to take that vacation. Now with new hires, people who might be able to replace me when I'm, offline, it might make it just easier, at least mentally, to be able to go uh, in peace into the sunset. Um, but yeah. Um, but yeah, vacation to me is probably going to be at this time just, being offline and taking some time off to just rest at home and not have anything to do. That would be good. I don't know if I'll be traveling because COVID is still, a situation. I have been double vaccinated, but doesn't necessarily mean that I'm protected, especially with the new variants. So there's a lot of thinking to be done before that happens, but that's kind of it. I wanted to mention one last thing. So as you know, we do the Bazaar showcase, and we also did last time a showcase of the Millinet Cloud module, which was not a Bazaar thing, but it was uh, a free module that we really liked, and we wanted to also um, start this tradition where we would be showing various modules um, uh, as part of the Bazaar showcase, but just like free community modules. We didn't have something specific to show because I wanted to instead show you the League of Foundry VTT developers package jam, which finished very recently, and there were 61 submissions of new modules, and we went through those as I'm part of the league as well. We went through those and reviewed them and made some various ranking. There was also community ranking, and the overall results are really really great. You can see some of these, like Sequencer is absolutely magnificent. It allows you to do some things like as a macro, you can do, here's a new sequence, do an effect from this file at this location at this scale, wait 1 second, and then do another effect, and then teleport the token to this position. So you can do all sorts of effects that you can sequence together with like uh, for example, do some effect and then move the token and do another effect. So, that's really, really awesome to just be able to create a macro that gives you the kind of sequence that you want and just press play basically and just do it. That's awesome. Soundscape is also a really great module to let you do. Well, let me see if I can maybe do it like this. So you can control various sound effects and music, and it has all sorts of really cool features. Yeah, it's really awesome. So I suggest you check it out. There's Light Geschwindigkeit. I'm sorry, I probably messed up the name. We just call it Lightspeed, basically. Um, it basically just changes. Um, oh, the YouTube video was louder than me. Okay. I did not realize that. Okay, I'll need to tweak OBS. But yeah, the light speed module just changes how the light how the lighting works within Foundry. So you can see improves the speed and accuracy of Foundry's lighting calculation on the maps. So you can see um Foundry with 0.8.6. Oh, those are videos. Um, so I can just play that at the moment. But yeah, you can see that it's just much faster and smoother and with like nicer shadows and things like that. It's really cool. Um, Wildjammer, More Adventures in Space, that's ranked fourth. Um, you have Monk's Enhanced Journal, ranked fifth, sorry. And you can see all of those on like their rankings. You can also go and see what's the most useful, which one has the most polish, what's the most mind blowing, the wackiest, gorgeous, and so you can see best first package. So multi-phase tokens is really cool. Multi-phase tiles, sorry, is really cool as well because you can set a tile and you can have different sides to the tile, so you can like switch easily between with um like maybe uh um like different states of the tile itself, for example. So there's all sorts of really cool um packages. So I recommend you go check that out if you want to discover some new and awesome free open source for most of them, I believe, um, uh, Foundry modules that will just blow your mind. Um, and so that was the package jam of the League of Foundry VTT developers that finished very recently. Um, like July 13th. I mentioned it in the last stream that it was ongoing, but yeah, it finished last month, and those are the results basically. Um, and that's it. That was an hour and a half of. There was just so much content. There was just so much to talk about. Uh, but yes, I am done. That was all I needed to talk about. Uh, and now we can move on to the Q&A portion, I suppose. Because I like to do that. Um, I like to do that where we can do some Q&A. So, hi, Ari Rate. Not a question, but a request feedback. Please add Launch Foundry to the My Foundry drop-down menu. It doesn't make sense for the shortcut not to be there. Would enable the user to access this regardless of where they are on the site. Okay. I see what you mean. Like the Launch Foundry button that we used to have next to the profile picture, right? Um, I hadn't actually thought of that because I use the, the, like, I'm on World Builder or whatever, so I have the game manager enabled. So even before, I didn't have that, because when you're on Storyteller, when you have the game manager enabled, you don't actually have the launch foundry because you have all these worlds. So I'm used to just going and launching the world that I want. But yes, that is something that I hadn't thought of. And I think, yeah, it would be a good idea to just add it to the menu, um, with like my foundry. And then if you're not on the game manager enabled, you would have it as probably like the first item here. Launch, um, launch my foundry, launch my game, something like that. Yeah, yeah. I'll add it. I'll take a note of that. Thank you, Ari Raid, for that suggestion. That's a good one. Oh, I was showing my screen, but I forgot that I was in Q&A mode, so there was no screen to show. But yes, I'd be adding it in the sub menu of my Foundry, so it can be quickly accessed. Nice. Is there any question? Why is Azure AWS a bad fit for the Forge? Ooh, um, I'm very opinionated on that. I just don't like them at all. First of all, it would cost, according to my calculations, about 10 times as much for the infrastructure that we build. Um, and they really nickel and dime you. They are more geared towards enterprise, large enterprise solutions where you have multiple engineers dedicated to just managing the AWS console. To do anything is super complicated. I don't want to go back to school and get a new diploma just on how to navigate the AWS console. That's the feeling I get anytime I open that. um, and like, I tried it and I am just hating it, absolutely hate it. um and yeah, like, it's really horrible. Like, for example, just adding that Oceania server um would have likely cost me $2,000 per month just to have it, with even like before anyone starts using the servers, before, just to set up my infrastructure that holds the website, the Ceph cluster, like the storage, everything. It would likely have been so cost inefficient. I don't want to raise my prices to, hey, the basic game master tier is going to cost you like $20. That doesn't make sense. um because the Forge is, it's not just hosting, it's a platform, it's a whole service. And the hosting is just a small part of it, basically. So it's not like, for example, we need, like, the Foundry needs basically to run on 4 gig RAM machines for it not to crash when you launch it, especially with Foundry 0.8 that does the compendium indexing. I know that some of the competitors, not competitors, but the other Foundry hosting services partners, are using single machines for your Foundry, and they are limited at 1 gig of RAM, and it just doesn't work for them. Um, yeah, they're not competitors. I mean, we're all kind of friendly, It's I guess we do compete uh, on the fact that we offer hosting for Foundry, but I think we don't really compete because we're targeting very different kinds um of users, you know. We are not just, we don't do hosting. I never considered the Forge as being a hosting provider. I consider the Forge as being an entire platform. Hosting comes for free with it, you know. It's just, yeah, we can run Foundry for you, but we're building a platform, we are building a whole website with whole set of features around Foundry, and that's what the users pay for. That's that convenience, that added security, that performance improvements. All of those things are what the users are paying for, in my opinion. I mean, the users are free to think otherwise. Everyone will want different things, obviously. So, but that's how personally I see it. Are there some plans to implement an animated asset preview while in the tile browser? Not really, no, because the tile browser uh is done by Foundry itself. Um, oh, unless you mean the assets library, probably. So the assets library, animated if so if you're talking, yeah, you're talking about the assets library. So if it's a GIF, it's already going to be animated. It's if it's like WebM or WebP, APNG or whatever, those kinds of files will already be animated. That's not going to be an issue. When you have a video, however, then it can't. You can click on it and then play the video in the preview. Let me switch you to um, let me switch to it. Where is it? There's my screen. So here's an image and it's animated, and you'll see it animate in a second. There you go. See, it is animated. So that's not a problem. And if it's an actual video, you can't, because that would mean having a video uh for each of them and then playing them. Some videos might have audio in them, which can be, disruptive. We could mute it, but then someone will ask for having the audio as well. And especially when you have like a large asset library with like a lot of files, like 100 tokens, like 100 images, and all of these are videos. You don't want to have a different video. First of all, it will simply crash your browser. That's the biggest issue. Um, and so that's going to be the first issue. But what you can do is click here, and then you'll be able to play that video here. So you just won't have a preview um, in the browser itself. And that's mostly a technical limitation. Hover over and start playing. I mean, you move your mouse and it will start playing a bunch of them. That can be just as disruptive. I don't think things should react on hover. It's the worst way to make something react. Also, um, you can't hover on mobile, so that can be also an issue. So yeah, I know, Alaric, you're just throwing ideas. But that's mostly like why it's more of a technical limitation. And also we don't want to disrupt people. What you can do, however, um, and I believe that's what Moulinet does, um, is with Moulinet uh, you can have it parse those videos and show a preview icon of it. So that's something that is doable. Um, but they need to be pre-parsed. They need to generate that preview image, and then you would be only be showing the preview itself. Um, I believe that's how it does it. I haven't checked, but it is something that the Moulinet module can really help with. Um, is Fight Goblins Not Servers really trademarked? That's a good question. It is trademarked because it is being used by us. That's technically how a trademark works. It's not so the TM means that we use this and it's recognizable as part of our brand. If it's and that's what makes it a trademark. What you're probably asking is whether it's a registered trademark. If it was, then you would see a little R icon in a circle. That's what registered trademarks are. But anytime you see TM, it doesn't mean that it's registered anywhere. Yeah, smarter every day. Can I get the number of your hairstylist? Huh? Is this... Are you making fun of me? My hair is fine. It's just the camera background removal that messes it up. I'm sure. Uh, Not a question, but a huge thank you here in South America. Our ISP are really slow on speeds. Without Forge Foundry is something that it's just not possible. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for, using the Forge and, uh, believing in the mission that we've set for the Forge to just make Foundry usable for everyone as much as possible. How many users have gone over to the Oceania servers? Did it make sense in raw numbers yet? I haven't checked the numbers on how many users have gone over, but it's it's definitely going to make sense on the long term. I think the Asian server um, is something that I launched when it still didn't make any sense financially, but it made sense in the heart, basically. Like I did not want my users to have that kind of experience, even if it was not financially sound. So that's why I created the Asian server back then, and then eventually it became a net positive financial thing to have the Asian server. I believe the Oceania server might be something very similar, but I think most of the Asian users are from Australia and New Zealand. So um, from that perspective, they might just move all of them, well, most of them, to Oceania. And then the real question is going to become whether the Asian server is still financially sound. And it's gonna go back to my original, I created it because I think that it was deserved, not because I needed to make money from it. Larry Rate says, yeah, thanks for me from me too. As an SQL developer, I'm up to my eyes in tech all day, so thankful for a simple hosted solution that involves virtually no work on my part. Thank you. Yes, I was actually surprised, at the very beginning of the Forge, I expected like all or most of my users to just be, non-tech savvy people who didn't know how to set up their own servers. But I actually had a lot of people who are very tech savvy people, but who just don't want to, who don't want that hassle. Um, and that's what the Forge is about. It's to make it convenient and not and hassle free. Alaric says Brother Sharp needs to do more advertising for the Forge. Yes, possibly, but I think he does quite plenty of it already. Um, I think one issue is probably the language barrier. So from that perspective, this is not something that I talked about earlier, but yeah, I do plan on having multi-language support. That might not be until mm, October, maybe November. But that's something I haven't announced yet. But we do have an intern who will be working with us in September, who I have assigned the task to add multi-language support for the Forge. He's not a Canadian intern. It's from France. He's part of the Foundry community. He reached out and wanted to see if it was possible to have him do his internship within the Forge, and I said yes. And so they'll be working on adding the ability to switch languages. And hopefully by then we'll have. I want to add basically French, Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese mostly, German, Spanish potentially, but also Japanese. Um, and so yeah, with the Japanese language natively on the Forge, then that will probably help a ton with the adoption in Japan for the Forge. Um, Question 4 from Alaric. How many backups could you keep for World Builder? So I think for the World Builder, I want to potentially keep as many as humanly possible. I like the ability of saying, hey, uh, this is 2 years ago, and you still have that backup. So at the moment, I do not plan on setting a restriction. I do not have a plan to set any kind of policy for auto deletion of those backups from the time machine itself, not from the overall backup that happens in case of disaster. So those have policies that I keep for up to 3 months, basically. But yeah, for the time machine, I want to have it unlimited and with no quotas on the size of those worlds, basically. Um, Five, do you pay your interns, Punk? Yes, yes. The intern said he did not need to be paid. Internships generally are unpaid, but I said no. Uh, I had my own internship when I was still in university, which was paid, and I know that some of my friends were unpaid interns, and I hated that idea. I hated the fact that someone would be doing work and not be paid for it. And even though it is work that will require some, supervision from us, so it will technically do require our work, so cost from our time to supervise, review, teach also like the intern on what they should be doing. I think that they are still um, providing useful work, and that merits to be paid. So I did offer to pay for that internship at the salary that like entry level would get. Well, minimum wage basically for their country. So that was what I did. Six, would world builder backups be under their own game data? Then some worlds are big. So, like I said, no. I want it to be potentially quota free. So that's something that I'm thinking of, where you could have these basically unlimited backups with Time Machine, and they don't count under any of your quotas. Um, it's something that I haven't explored, in detail. Um, but that's where my mind is right now. Because I don't want to add complication with regards to how much space you are using for your backups, time machine, and all that. It won't be Git based like I originally said, because that just does not work. Yeah, it might become expensive over time, for sure. I am hoping that it won't. And I think, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'll need to do some math for sure. Um, Maybe, I don't want to limit the users, honestly. I don't want to either add complication or add a stressor of what is my quota, should I delete backups or anything of that sort. It might be, it might be something like um, if the world is deleted, then that time machine get deleted as well. Uh, but yeah, I think it'll be fine. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, the worst case is what? You have 2 gig as data quota for your world builder. Um, yeah, it can be worrisome if you have a world that suddenly takes 500 meg because there's a bug in a module, and then you duplicate that for every week for a year or something. Um, but I'll have to think about it. We'll see. I think it probably also justifies a bit of that cost for the world builder tier. And no, I won't keep them under my bed. Um, uh, yeah, you're out of questions. Those were good questions. Thank you, Alaric, for participating in the Q&A. Um, Estonian servers when? Hmm. Do you have a server under your bed? Oh no, what? Okay. Announcement V9P1, right? Sure, of course. All right, so big announcement that just happened live, well, 4 minutes ago. Foundry VTT version 9 prototype 1 has just been released. So those who want to have a look at that, my advice is going to be don't. As simple as that. Just don't. Because this is a prototype. It's only prototype 1. So if we move back to my screen and we go to foundryvtt.com and then it's article versioning, I think. There you go. So you can see how the development cycle is. So they drop the alpha, beta, um, and stable naming. Instead, it's prototype, development, testing, and then stable. So any time that you see prototype, it means that it's not really meant for you. It's meant for specifically getting module developers to give feedback on the API changes. That's what it's meant for. It's not meant for you to use in your games. Then you have the development phase. That's going to be specifically for developers to port their modules to the new API changes, basically. And then you have the testing phase. This is if you feel adventurous, then maybe you might want to try that testing phase. And then when it hits stable, that's when you should be able to feel a bit more confident into switching to it. But prototype, definitely not the time for you to try it. It says, during this phase, development focuses on implementing new features or making major changes to existing features. The API is open for drastic changes, blah, 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 community feedback. So it's really not meant for any users to use. And if you are a developer, most likely you're not using the Forge to test your stuff. You're doing it locally, which makes the most sense. So at the end of the day, V9P1 prototype 1 was just released. Let's celebrate that, but let's not jump on it quite yet. Not knowing what you're doing, especially. All right, let's see. How is it possible that Alaric is out of questions? I think that's gonna be one of the major questions, one of the major unknowns in the universe. Is it, to be fair, I could see Alaric keeping a server under his bed. Yes, I could see that as well. If he says so, absolutely will. Hey, Nickel Midwest is here. Hey, give me limits as I reach closer to question 10. They get too weird for him and he feels uncomfortable. Well, I feel uncomfortable when you ask uncomfortable questions. But no, it's not really about the number. Feel free to throw your questions at me. Just the trolly ones are kind of weird because I feel the need to answer all your questions, even if I know it's a troll question. Then I'm like, why am I answering this? Anyway. um, DM me your question. I'll ask them until I get to 10, which is the end of the stream. I can't come up with questions on the spot. We should plan ahead next time. So, will you have V9P1? I think I will. I'm not entirely sure. I've always prided myself in having the Forge not have any kind of deficiency with regards to local hosting, right? In the sense of there's an alpha release that is out, it is also out on the Forge immediately at the exact same time. So you can't say, well, I'm on the Forge, I can't try it yet, right? That's something that I do not want any of my users to ever say, basically. With regards to prototype, because it's a prototype and not an actual release, I might skip it. But I'm not entirely sure. I do worry about like potentially users trying it and then regretting their decision and us having to scramble to help them. But please do. Why D&D population me? Why, Kevin? Do you really want prototype 1 on the Forge? So yeah, that's a good question. 9. Do the moderators have to provide support for V9P1? I would say no. I would say if someone, let's say I do release them. Oh, just don't let them have it, please. Okay, I thought you were saying like, please add it. So yeah, one thing is that when there was alpha, I noticed that there was maybe less than 10 people who switched to alpha on the Forge. So very few people switched to it. So I think people are still relatively good at not jumping into things too fast. And so I think I think it's also helped when I did the version and I put between parentheses for developers only. That helped a lot in people not clicking on it by mistake. Or saying, "Oh, there's a new version. Let me try that." So that helped, and we didn't have too many issues. Like 0.8, we didn't really have many people jumping into that until it started to hit beta. Um, so I'm not too worried, which is one of the reasons why I'm thinking, maybe I'll do it. Um, but yeah, I mean, if someone asks a question and then you ask them what version of Foundry and they say V9P1, you can straight up say, sorry, that version is still a prototype. We cannot give any kind of support for it, and maybe redirect them to the Foundry server, or just tell them, just go back to a stable release, please. So moderators should not have to provide support for that prototype version for sure. So yeah, I'm thinking probably I'm gonna leave prototype out, and once it hits developments, then I'll publish it under maybe alpha, and then testing will become beta, stable will stay stable. I will very likely change those naming. Um, so it doesn't say, like, when you select your version, it doesn't say latest alpha or latest beta. I think it should just say development um, phase or testing phase or something. I'm not yet sure about the naming. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I think maybe someone else knows more than me on that specific topic. Um, I think they will do multiple prototype versions. Um, I don't know what the exact timeline. My original thought was that one major release phase would likely take 6 months of development. Yeah. So that would be uh, still a few months away for sure. And yeah, that's kind of it. We are just a few minutes short of having done a 2-hour stream. There was just so much to talk about today. But that was a lot of fun. Let's see. Oh, 10th question. Let me see, what is that 10th question? Can you add a special flag so the bad boys get select V9P1? Ooh, that's actually a really cool question. Because it's something that I have been thinking about. I haven't fleshed it out yet fully in my mind, but I have been thinking of being able to potentially go to my account and enable like advanced mode. My uh, media player on Windows that I use, Zoom Player, which I really like. If you go to settings, they have basic, advanced, and expert, and the entire menu, well, not the UI, but like the settings menu, settings UI itself actually changes completely based on whether you're on basic, advanced, or expert. And the options change, what you can do with it changes completely. And I really like that. And I would like to potentially have something similar for the Forge at some point, where you could say, you know, I'm not very tech savvy, and I just want the basic usage. And then you have this very simple UI, which is basically kind of what we have right now, I guess. Then you could say advanced, and then it would unlock some features like being able to select a alpha or beta, channel, right? Or prototype development testing. But if you're not advanced, then no, you shouldn't be able to, like, if you're on the basic setting, then you shouldn't have access to beta channels, because that's just not what you want. And yeah, potentially other stuff that might, like, for now, I don't really have ideas of what we could put behind an advanced option. I think I had one when that idea came to my mind, but yeah, the prototype stuff would go there. Yes, it went further than what you had in mind, but that's kind of it. I think we're good. I think we're done with the questions, unless someone else has one last minute question that I can answer. Otherwise, I think we're all good. Yeah, you're good, people. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for following. Thank you for, trusting the Forge and being with us, and uh just thank you. um I'm really happy um to see these changes recently that came, and I hope you are too. And hopefully next month we'll have even more exciting news to share with everybody. So that's it. Thank you, and bye bye.